Hello there guys, long time no see. You might have noticed that I took a break from doing my reviews, and there's a good reason behind that. I moved to LA recently and my whole life has gone through a couple of big changes. But I haven't forgotten about you, and I've been constantly thinking about a way to be more useful to you guys. And while my reviews so far have been extremely well received by you, I realized that not everyone can afford to buy a brand new BMW. So I decided to change the pace a little and start reviewing more normal cars, more down-to-earth cars that sell in larger volumes. So from now on, you'll be seeing a new category of videos on my YouTube channel called TuroViews. Now, Turo is an app some of you might know about, to others it might seem new. It's an app that allows you to rent your car out to other people, and you in turn rent other people's cars. Now, I found it extremely useful, especially since I moved over here, because I get to drive a couple of cars that I wouldn't normally be allowed to or have reached to. You can find everything on there, from Maseratis to M cars to Porsches and everything. But while all these exotic cars might sound extremely interesting, you can also test regular cars like a Passat or a Jetta or a Honda CR-V, cars that people buy and live with them. So I'm going to be reviewing older cars for people out there looking to buy their first car maybe, or looking to buy a cheaper second car for their home, a car that would be reliable and used day by day. I'm gonna begin with this. This is a 2013 Mazda CX-5. This is currently my daily driver, so since I had access to it in the first place, I decided to start with it. Now, this model is was extremely important to Mazda. A couple of reasons. The reason why that's true is because it was launched when the SUV boom started. As you might have noticed, every manufacturer out there is chipping and betting on the SUV niche because that's what's selling today. The reasons why SUVs are starting to become more popular is because fuel is currently extremely cheap. That won't last forever, and this is basically a risk manufacturers are taking, investing a lot in new SUVs of all sizes, of course. This CX-5, this is the original CX-5, the first model they launched. This year, Mazda released the facelift for the CX-5, which looks absolutely stunning and brings a couple of new features. But I thought it would be best to review the original, since with the new model out, prices will be dropping significantly. Now, this car was about $22,000 when it was new. That was a bargain back then, and considering that the new model is out, you can probably pick one of these up for about 15 grand or even less, depending on the condition. So, what should you know before buying one? Well, Mazda did the right thing from the get-go. They knew that this model will sell in bulk, and they created it from the ground up. There have been no hand-me-downs parts used in the creation of this car. It doesn't borrow anything from its bigger brother, the CX-7. It's a brand new model. That said, it adheres to the Sky-Activ philosophy, which Mazda is rolling out currently. As a matter of fact, the engines on this car were among the first Sky-Activ ones to be sold worldwide. In the US, you get to choose between two engines. You get a 2-liter 155 horsepower unit. It's a 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine, which is quite rare these days. That's powering this car as well. Then there's the 2.5-liter, which has about 184 horses, and it's a bit more thirsty but also more powerful. Now, in a world where turbocharged engines are the norm, Mazda is really taking a bold move here with its Sky-Activ technology. Now, what that means is that its engines have lower emissions than usually you would find on naturally aspirated units. They are also a lot more reliable since you have no turbos. This is basically a bulletproof engine, and they are not as sturdy as they might seem. Now, considering this is a compact SUV using a petrol engine, you'd think that the fuel consumption would be considerably high. Well, you'd be wrong. Right now, this car is averaging close to 29 mpg, which is absolutely incredible considering its size, weight, and the engine it's using. Around town, I'm seeing about 26 mpg, which is okay, and outside on the highway, you're gonna get over 30 mpg on a regular. So that's just absolutely okay from my point of view. Of course, you cannot expect this car to be fast. It wasn't developed to be fast or to be great at driving through curvy roads such as the one I'm on right now. You can actually get it with four-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, and you should really go for the front-wheel drive model, no matter if you live in an area where winters are quite snowy. The reason I'm saying that is that the high ground clearance of the CX-5 will allow you to go through quite a deep amount of snow without any issues as long as you use a good set of winter tires. That will also be the case with the all-wheel drive model, but on all-season tires you will not get the grip and the stability you're wishing for, even if power is sent to all four corners of the car. So just go for a front-wheel drive model. It will be lighter, it will do better MPG, and just get a set of winter tires. You'll be set for the winter, trust me on that. You do not need all-wheel drive. Furthermore, as far as driving is concerned, four-wheel drive doesn't bring anything impressive to the table. It's still a front-wheel drive bias system, so you'll get a lot of understeer anyway. No reason to go for all-wheel drive, just go with front-wheel drive. Now, in terms of transmissions, if you're an enthusiast such as myself, you should really go for the manual 6-speed. You get more control, less lag, and a better feel behind the wheel overall. The automatic gearbox is this car's weak link. It is slow, it is jittery at times, and it basically pisses me off every time I drive it. But if you're just buying this car for the purpose it was built, which is taking the kids to school, going to work, and maybe to Walmart every day, this is a great car. Why I'm saying that? Well, it's cheap, it's really low maintenance, the engine is absolutely bulletproof. This car has 71,000 miles and no work has gone into the engine. There were no problems with it. There is one problem it has, I'll go into that a little bit later. But other than that, it's comfortable. Yeah, the suspension is a bit on the firm side of things. I don't know why. I'm assuming it's due to the all-season tires, which are basically crap. You should just get two sets of tires, one for winter, one for the summer. And the seats are a bit firm. Speaking of which, inside the cabin, the design is rather okay. The materials are good quality, especially for a Mazda. The leather on the steering wheel feels good to the touch. The same goes for the gear shift lever and the handbrake. These are the only areas where I have leather in this car. But I wouldn't recommend to anyone going for these beige seats. Now, they may look good when the car is new, but as it gets older, they will get dirty, they will get stained, and so on and so forth. So you can save yourself a lot of trouble by just going for a darker theme inside your cabin. You'll be much better off on the long run, believe me on that. Other than that, inside the cabin you get plenty of space. The driving position is high. You get a strong command view of the road. You have great visibility on all sides of the car, including the back, even though the headrests of the rear seats do get in the way somehow. There's plenty of room for 4 people, even 5 depending on the size. Of course, that's the case with any car, but 3 adults can sit in the back for shorter journeys. I wouldn't recommend it for longer trips though, because it does get a bit cramped. Now, since the seats are a bit on the firm side, they are not the most comfortable I've driven, but I actually did a 500-mile road trip one day, covering 500 miles in a day. I got to my destination and I wasn't extremely tired. My back didn't hurt, so that's a big plus for the Mazda. But I have to warn you, for some people the seats will seem a bit hard. On the outside, the CX-5 adheres to the new Kodo philosophy of Mazda, which basically means it dictates the tone for future models. When this car was launched in 2013, it was among the first to use this new philosophy in design. Cars following it, like the new MX-5, the CX-3 in Europe, and Mazda 6, for example, followed in its design philosophy, and the new one is even better looking. It looks great from the outside, could use a bigger set of wheels than the ones I'm rolling on right now, 17-inch ones, but overall it looks good. Inside, as I told you, the design is rather Spartan. The big screen, touch screen for the infotainment system works flawlessly. It's quite good, easy to reach, no problems whatsoever. You get Bluetooth as standard in the US. You also get the rear view camera, which is very welcome, especially over here. And a couple of decent options. You don't get dual climate control as standard unless you go for the Grand Sport trim level, but now all of that depends on what you're buying. Since you're in the second-hand car market, you should really pick your options. So, what's the overall idea and what's the overall feel that CX-5 gives you? Well, as long as you know what to expect from this model, you're pretty much set. I mean, you cannot expect the CX-5 to be a sporty car. It wasn't designed to do that. It was designed to be versatile. It was designed to be viable. It's supposed to have great viability on the long run. The engine is a peach. You won't have any issues, as is the case with new turbo engines everybody seems to be using, and maintenance is low. It won't be expensive to run. On the downside, yes, handling isn't great. It leans a lot in the corners. The transmission, the automatic transmission, isn't great. It's rather slow in a couple of scenarios. On the highway, going over 70 miles an hour, you will be struggling to do an overtake. It's not all that powerful, and it will sip a lot of fuel if you go beyond the speed limit. However, it's really versatile. It's a really good car for day-to-day driving, taking the kids to school. So for the purpose it was built, I cannot really flaw it. Overall, I would give it a 7 out of 10. It's a great car to start your new life with, as I am doing right now. On a different note, the prices should go lower in the following months. So you can pick one of these babies up for 15 grand, even less, depending on their condition, which basically makes it a steal. As far as issues go, because I told you I'm gonna talk about that, this car hasn't had any issues. It has 2 recalls on it, officially made by Mazda and covered by Mazda, so I didn't end up paying anything. The only issue I have with it is that the front rotors have warped. The brake discs have 71,000 miles on them, so probably they will need changing anyway. But the fact that they are warped says quite a lot about the quality of these cars lately. Now, that's not a specific Mazda issue. Most new cars are not built to be as viable as they used to in the past. But if your discs, your brake discs on the front warp in less than 50,000 miles, that's an issue. Of course, you may have warranty on your car by then, and they might be changed on warranty, but that's something a dealer might frown upon. Overall, the CX-5 is a good car for what it was built. It's not a sports car. It's not going to be a blast to drive on curvy mountain roads, but it wasn't designed for that. I cannot stress that enough. People faulting it for that are just out of their mind, because you cannot fault a car for something it wasn't designed to do. Now, in the future, I will be taking recommendations from you guys. If you want me to review a specific car, just go ahead and ask me in the comment section below. I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna try and publish a review every week, so I hope you guys find it useful, and subscribe to my channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching. I hope this is useful. See you guys next time.